as we come into the revelation of Mount Sinai, of this eternal story that we're approaching, the giving of the Torah, on one hand, is one of the most holy, awesome expressions of divine word since the story of creation, right? The story of creation was God creating the world through word. And again, you know, we can think about that linearly, way back then, or we can think about the story metaphorically in that the ongoing creation of every moment is somehow coming into play by some kind of divine word, whatever that is, as that's opening in. But then in the revelation of Sinai, it's the experience of Torah, of people being able to feel, experience God's presence. On one hand, it happens through words, as we know the 10 Commandments, and there's something for people to take. But on the other hand, it is beyond words. And in the Torah, it talks about that the people saw sounds and heard colors. There was the synesthesia going around, so sensory experience didn't quite connect with whatever they were experiencing. There was a sense that what happened, a midrash that was so awesome that their souls left their bodies, and whatever they experienced was beyond language. And so as we start to pay deeper attention to the moment, to reality, to this ongoing flow of creation that we are a part of, we can notice a little bit how language, which is very hard to get away from, can sometimes provide a little bit of a tension in our own experience. So I'm going to read to you, I'm really enjoying this book right here, A New Hasidism. There's 2 volumes, Roots and Branches, edited by Rabbi Arthur Green. And this essay comes from Rabbi Green himself. And I'm just going to read to you two paragraphs. Mysticism and words are strange bedfellows. They have always had to live together, neither ever being quite comfortable about the presence of the other. Mystics have ever been wary about the limitations of language. Words seem to bind them to the earth, forcing them to discourse in neatly boxed categories on that which by nature seeks to flow, to soar, transcending all possible verbal boxes. And words, as it were, have always been suspicious of that which they are told they cannot apprehend. They can admit no reality beyond their own ken. From the modern mystic's point of view, the most problematic words of all are the words associated with religion. God, holy, love, and all the rest. The words have become prisoners of synagogues and churches where their overpowering reality is unknown. So long have they been read responsively that they evoke no response. Even the more sophisticated words, now used in their stead, suffer from guilt by association. Numinous and sacred are too respectable. They turn no one on. So we're gonna just explore a little bit of this, of the nature of words and language to, and how that affects our moment-to-moment experience, and how we might even go beyond it. So get a comfortable position to sit. We'll start with a melody, a nigun, and then move into the silence. Nai, 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 nai. Yananai, nananai, nai, nai, nai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yadadai, yadadai, dai, dai, dai. Yai, dai, dai, dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, yai, dai, dai. Yai, yai, dai, dai. Yada, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yada, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yada, dai, yada, dai, yada, dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yada, dai, yada, dai, yada, dai. Yai, dai, dai, dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, dai, dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, dai, dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yada, dai, da, da, dai, da, da, dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yada, dai, yada, dai, yada, dai. Yai, dai, dai, dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, dai, dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, dai, dai. Yada, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yada, dai, yada, dai, yada, dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yada, dai, yada, dai, yada, dai. Let yourself tune in to the movement of your breath, noticing where the inhale enters the nostrils or the mouth. Notice the way the body gently expands to make room for the inhale. Follow the air as it exits the body, noticing the gentle contraction as the exhale goes out. And then pay attention again to the exhale as it switches to an inhale. Noticing the air as it begins to enter the body, enlivening every cell. And just allow your attention to be present with that movement of breath, noticing every inch of its traveling. And at the same time that you're paying attention to that movement of breath, broaden your awareness to be aware of your body, the contact of your bottom in the chair or the cushion. Notice the place where your feet meet the floor. Notice the distance between the bottom of your spine and the top of your head. The space between your ears. Being aware of body in space. breath as it moves in and out. As you're present with breath and body, also notice all the sounds that are in your field of awareness. Sounds in your home, sounds outside your home. Letting everything just be here now together. Without having to latch on to any part of your experience. Just noticing in a wide open awareness, breath, body in space, sounds, thoughts, the divine symphony. Everything being a part of this ongoing dance of creation in the moment. And as you're paying attention to everything in your field of experience, see if you can notice your attention itself. The sense of presence that you bring to this moment. In fact, the more that you sense into and notice this sense of presence, the one who is watching, the more you realize that it doesn't come from you, but instead something that you participate in. Breath, body, sounds, attention, awareness itself. And allow yourself to be here in this moment with everything unfolding moment by moment. And allow yourself to be with it without definitions, without labels. Is it possible to be present with what is, with breath, with body, with sound, with awareness, and yet to be with it without the filter of labeling it as such? There's a letting go, kind of a trust, a free fall that can happen when we give ourselves to this moment without the labels. It's a willingness to completely let go that mind's function of continuing to filter and order our experience. And to let it go into pure isness, to the energy of the moment, to the divine unfolding of the moment. And even as I'm saying all of these words, to try to point to something that is beyond the label. I'm going to be quiet for a little bit and want to just invite you as in gentle ways to just continue to let go into what is here, to experience every part of this moment by moment, completely as it is, without label, without filter. Just the immediacy, the vibrancy, the aliveness of this moment. Feel a sense of trust as you can let go into being here without the filter. And as soon as you notice yourself back in a particular thought conception of whatever your attention is focused on, as soon as you notice that again, just bring your attention, expand it beyond the place that your attention has contracted around. Be open to all parts of this moment, the divine symphony, and then take that extra step off, letting go of labels and filters and being with this one moment. as we continue to reach out to let go of labels, there might be a temptation to back away from the experiences that surround us and that are within us. And this is quite the opposite. We're allowing ourselves to be even more fully present with everything in our moment to moment experience, to fully feel that thing we call air on our face, and sustaining breath and sounds around. But we let the outer garment of the thought conception of it, of the idea of what it is, and instead be with it in its essence, be with here in its essence. And when we really bring our attention and our presence to what is around us without label, we feel its vitality, aliveness, everything being inflamed with energy.
Yotzero Uvorech Oshem Ose Shalom Uvorech Hakol Yotzero Uvorech Oshem Ose Shalom Uvorech Hakol Or Chadash Al Tzion Tahir V'nizkechu lanu Mehera leoro Or Chadash Al Tzion Tahir V'nizkechu lanu Mehera leoro Ay, 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 Yadanai, 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 Yai, dai, 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 Yadanai, 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 Yai, dai, 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 Yadanai, dai, 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 Yai, dai, 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 Yada dai 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 dai. Yai dai dai dai. Yada dai 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 dai. Yai ay ay ay. Yada dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yada dai yada dai yada. Yai, yai, dai, dai, dai. Yada, dai, yada, dai, yada, dai. There are some advantages to getting to daven on my own, pray on my own on Saturday mornings. That nigun came out of this last Saturday morning. So nice to be able to share it. So I'm aware that instruction in this meditative practice is a bit radical. I'm wondering how it is for people to try to be with moment-to-moment experience and resist the mind's natural movement to label and notice exactly what it is. The sense just I'm breathing as I'm breathing. What was that like? In this piece here, in that moment of that happening, which for you is a kind of crumbling of something underneath you, physically, metaphorically, whatever it is, that's also a label and a story of what's going on. And really, there's just on one level, there is just energy that's unfolding in a certain way, which results in you being on the floor. In how that is. And is it possible to be with that completely without drawing any particular pattern of meaning from it? Other thoughts? I want to be really clear here. Like this is a real, like this piece is a stretch. A rubber band, you want to stretch a rubber band and immediately you stretch it a little bit. As soon as you let go, it's going to go right back to where it is. And it's not an accident. I mean, we're wired to label and make order of our moment and our world. It's part of our own survival mechanism. So it's very deep in our own being to do that, because as soon as we can label something, we can have control. We can have order. We can know, we can have a sense of things are okay because I know where everything kind of sits in my world and my reality. So that's going to be our natural way to go. And so it really is it's a practice. It's really coming into that place of trust to be able to say, I can let go of having to label this. I can be with this just as is, and to sense in that I know I'm going to be okay, that I know that my ability to be safe is not contingent upon me having to label my experience in this moment, meaning that I know, sitting in this chair, being right here, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm not going to, and not only that, but even psychologically, to be able to trust, as soon as, like, I'm not going to stay there. Like, as soon as I open into this kind of awareness of vibrant mush, no boundary, no just creative energy that is here and that's present, that I'm a part of all of this, I'm gonna immediately, the rubber band's gonna go right back. Like, I'm not gonna stay there. It's not like I'm gonna let go and I'm never coming back. This isn't like a bad trip, or a psychedelic trip where suddenly you're never coming back. It's coming back. We're coming back, immediately. So there's a piece of trust. There's a piece of safety that's in there. And the other piece I want to share is, and this is where this practice really translates into kind of our everyday life. If you think about all of the experiences of suffering that we might have, whether that's anxiety, you had mentioned anxiety, what would it be like if we could actually pay attention to that moment-to-moment experience of whatever the anxiety is, whatever is going on, whatever's happening in our body, without labeling? Without labeling it, meaning that when I start to, if I'm feeling stress in a moment, as I start to close my eyes and pay attention, I notice that there is so much thought conception that's going on and labeling that is creating that stress, right? There's a story in my mind of either what's going to happen, whether that's the anxiety. I might have, there's all of this. And then if I were to just be able to let go, I would start to maybe notice, okay, here's some tension in the body. Here's some heart beating. And I start to I let go of the mind story and just pay attention completely to the dynamic of anxiety or stress in my body on a physical level. And then I even let go of the labeling. Okay, I'm labeling it. I'm noticing my heart is racing a little bit more. I'm feeling tense. What if I were to let go of that label and just be with all of that as is? And then it's just another expression of energy, heart beating, tension. And I just start to be with this creative flow. There is no anxiety. I mean, what we call anxiety is a pattern of thought and sensation that if we started to pay attention to it without label, suddenly all kinds of stuff are possible in that way. And we can translate that to any experience that we have. Beautiful. We've found too, like when we would have the meditation in the library before services on Saturday morning, at least what the experience was like for me after first spending the 25 minutes in meditation and kind of being more into that more expansive, open space, and then coming into the service and having the liturgy and knowing what the liturgy means, I would feel so much more moved by the liturgy. And what's happening? Why am I so moved? It's because usually when I'm coming to prayer, these words can be one-dimensional, two-dimensional, because I'm coming to it from my filter, my label. I'm filtering, I'm labeling, I'm doing this, and now the words just come into another compartment, right? Another compartment, yes. Another compartment.
So what I'm hearing you say is, wow, in the meditation, even though the meditation was not necessarily so peaceful in it, that there was a lot of, you know, continuing to practice and try to open and let go and all of this, still that efforting of moving beyond label then allowed, when the words came back in, which were labeled in language, you were able to be touched by it in such a more powerful way. And that's really, translate this now into life in general. You know, you talked about it as far as the prayer, the liturgy, but you know, you're walking down taking a walk outside, and everything is so much more vibrant and alive and crystal and whatever, because this creation we're a part of is like, wow, it's amazing.
Yes.
Just our
boom.
Just our exactly. So that's definitely part of what we're doing. I'm gonna close with just reading the first paragraph of what I read opening up, because I love how it's written. Again, as we're coming to approach Torah on Mount Sinai, it is this balance and this dance between labels and beyond labels. You got to get beyond the labels in some ways to have a new appreciation for the labels. And sometimes the labels can actually point to directions to even go beyond it. So let me just open this again. All right, so again, this comes from Rabbi Arthur Green. I'm just going to read the small part of it. Mysticism and words are strange bedfellows. Now, when talking about mysticism, I want to say mysticism being that direct, open experience of the depth of the moment, the energy, the godliness, the openness, all of that. So mysticism and words are strange bedfellows. They have always had to live together, neither ever being quite comfortable about the presence of the other. Mystics have been wary about the limitations of language. Words seem to bind them to earth, forcing them to discourse in neatly boxed categories on that which by nature seems to flow, to soar, transcending all possible verbal boxes. And words, as it were, have always been suspicious of that which they are told they cannot apprehend. They can admit of no reality beyond their own ken. So it's this dance. It's this dance, words and labels without the beyond become limiting. And the beyond without words and labels don't have the ability to inspire and connect us in that same way. Thank you, everybody, for a wonderful morning.